Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I have here the 2021 Honda CRF300L, and I just wanted to mention a few things about what you should expect before you go buy one, or if you just bought one, some tips and some ideas and things you probably should do or should know about the bike, and some of the biggest concerns that you might want to look into and get fixed right away. So the bike is really amazing. I love it. It's such an upgrade from the CRF250L. And to let you know, in case you don't know, this is not just a CRF250L that's got a bigger stroked engine or nothing. It is a totally different bike than the 250L. It's a totally different layout, different frame. There's a lot of changes to the engine, the swing arm, suspension's a little different. So pretty much it is a totally new bike. Has nothing really to do with the CRF250L, even though it kind of looks similar. But when you get to looking at it, it really don't look the same. It's not as similar as everybody thinks. One of the greatest things about this bike, of course, it is 300cc, actually a little less. They call it 300cc, but water-cooled, single-cylinder, 4-stroke, fuel-injected. The bike is pretty much bulletproof and problem-free. I mean, oil changes every 8,000 miles. I don't do that myself. I do 3,000 miles. Some bikes I've done 3, some I've done 4. But anywhere in that area is good. I wouldn't want to go 8,000. As far as being problems with the bike, there's really no problems, but there's some things you might want to look at. One of the things is, and one of the first things I would do if you buy a CRF300L, is put a skid plate on it. Because from the factory, this bike does not come with a skid plate at all. The 250L actually comes with a pretty cheap little plastic skid plate, but at least it done something. So the biggest thing you'll have a problem with, and I have seen this twice, not on a 250L, but on other bikes, a rock coming off the front tire, or if you hit a rock, if you're off-road and you hit a rock, crack in the engine case, that aluminum engine case, and trust me, you don't want to crack the engine case and have to have the motor take it down, split the cases, and replace that. You don't want to fool with that. So invest the money as soon as possible. Even if you just ride highways, still, you want to put a skid plate on there. This is an AXP racing skid plate. Plastic is my choice, not the aluminum. It keeps the bike quiet. It still protects it really good. And they look great, work great. I've bashed mine on my 250L for a long time, for years, and it held up great. A skid plate is the first thing on this bike I would do. The next thing is change these tires. These tires, as I've said in many videos, they're okay. You know, they're okay off the road and they're okay on road. But they're not great at either one. And especially off-road, when you get into gravel and stuff, trying to ride with these tires, they can get you on your head in a hurry because they just don't have the bite, the lugs to grip onto gravel real good, dirt roads. You can see this tire here, and my bike now has 2,300 miles and how much it's wore down, so there's not a whole lot left after 2,300 miles, and that's pretty easy riding, really. I've done a lot of gravel roads and off-road, but not extreme stuff. Mostly the riding is actually back and forth to work because I use this as my daily commuter every single day. So tires would be a good thing to do. A skid plate, then the tires, I would definitely work on. Another thing on the bike that would be a good thing to do is changing the seat. If you're going to do long rides, a lot of rides, you want comfort. This stock seat is just horrible. It actually, when you first ride it, you're going to think it's okay. But trust me, once you get some hours on this bike and you get to riding it a lot, this seat gets very uncomfortable. It's just a horrible foam in there, padding. So go out and get you a seat concept seat. And trust me, I've had them on 2 of my 250Ls now, and they are absolutely wonderful. So put a seat on the bike. Definitely needs that, but not as crucial as the skid plate and the tires. So that's a few things that you need to know about what you should do right when you get the bike. Another thing you'd want to know about this bike is not a awesome bike. So if you're buying it thinking that you're going to ride this thing on freeways a lot and you're going to do a lot of two-up riding, you can do. Me and my wife do it a lot. But as far as a comfort ride, it's not a comfort ride like a cruiser or a big adventure bike. It's just not going to be that way. The bike is small, it's compact. So it's not going to be real good at two-up riding, but it does the job. It works for us and our needs. And I'm not a freeway rider, so you can ride this thing 70, 75 on the freeways, but trust me, it's a lightweight bike. It's just, you're up high in the RPMs, and it's just not a great bike to go on freeways a lot. If you just have to run to work every day and you got 10, 15, 20 miles, 30 miles even, it's no big deal. But if you're going to ride a lot of freeways, then the bike is kind of, you know, it's just it's not a real good bike for that. I always pick roads that are back roads they're still paved, but not down the freeway. There's always a back way usually in most situations that you can go on. And another thing you can expect with this bike is you're not going to have to worry about this bike breaking down. I mean, it is possible. I can't say it ain't possible, but these bikes are just bulletproof. They just run and run and run. It's fuel injected. They always start. They start up in the winter. It doesn't matter if it's cold or hot outside. They start up and purr like a kitten every single time you hit that push button. They're ready to go. So the bike is just pretty much really, really low maintenance. You don't have to do much to it. I mean, all you do is change the oil every few thousand miles. It's your choice. And there you go. If you're a heavier rider like me, I am 235 pounds, so I actually have to adjust this rear shock. There's a couple spanner nuts right in here. Loosen them and then crank them down to where the spring is tighter. And then that helps with the compression. Makes it to where it holds the bike up better, and it's not got near as much rider sag whenever you got that cranked down. That's the biggest thing. Other than that, there is no adjustability. So if you buy the bike thinking you can do all this stuff with the suspension, it's really pretty basic. You can upgrade the suspension, but the suspension on this bike is really just plain. It is what it is. But in my opinion, the suspension's fine. I hear all kinds of people talking about how this suspension is so horrible and so soft and so miserable. I don't understand what they're getting at. I mean, what are they doing? Riding motocross on it, you know? Are you out there actually hardcore woods riding? Then I can see, yeah, you're probably right, and it's under suspended for that. But that's not what the bike was totally meant for. It's meant for being able to commute, being able to run off-road, fire trails, and stuff like that, and it does a great job. I like the suspension soft myself because it's such a plush ride. I can ride when I go off-road. This thing it soaks up the bumps, and it soaks up the creek crossings and everything so good, the ledge rocks. So I have no problem with it being soft. I really like the suspension the way it is. So another thing to know about this bike is if you plan on big trips, a lot of people want to get on and go for a long haul, and you can, but I can tell you this gas tank only holds 2.08 gallon, I believe it is. So what you're going to get out of this tank at 70, 74 miles a gallon, you can expect around 140, depends on how you ride, anywhere from 120 to 140 miles per tank. So you can also, like I have, a roto packs to go here on the rear rack. You can put on one of those roto packs, and then you got another gallon. So you got about another 70 miles. So before you go long distance riding, you need to realize that you need to stop at gas stations pretty regular on this bike. It's not that it burns a lot of gas, you know, it's 70 to 75 miles a gallon or so, but with only 2 gallon, you're limited on your range without having to refuel. So other than that, there's actually so many mods that you can do, so many updates. You can put rear cargo racks on, make them haul more. Like I got a tank bag, I got hand guards to protect it in the brush, just from banging brush. It also helps you from the wind and the cold weather from hitting your hands, so that's pretty nice. I actually got some taller bars, some Renthal bars that are the Jimmy Button bend, and that makes it higher because I'm a taller guy. I got some actual wider foot pegs that have a lot better traction for your feet and things like that, but all that stuff's really not necessary. You can do without it. There's some things like the skid plate I said is definite must, and number one thing you should change, or not change but actually install on this bike. And the tires, as I said, was number 2 of the things you probably should look at changing, especially if you're riding back roads, off-road, dirt roads, anything slick or muddy. They're just not up to par for what you will need. So that's it on the 2021 Honda CRF300L, guys. Please click the thumbs up. Lots more videos coming about this bike and some of my adventures and other things that I do with the Jeep Gladiator and with camping. Thank you all for watching. Click the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Catch you on the next one. Ride on.